Uh,
But you know what isn't shitty is Headlopper. I was reading this last night, and it made me happy. Um, and I was reading one of the Mistborn books as well, and that was making me very happy. Um,
nice.
yeah.
Well, number one, just to start off the conversation right, Kev, you look very handsome.
Well, thank you.
Manny, Manny, I can't see you, of course, because you're not on the video stream, but I'm certain you're handsome as well.
Thanks. We'll go with that.
Yeah. You're always a handsome boy. But Kev, you do have it up there. Like, I have to say, for a trade paperback nowadays, I think sometimes it's hard to justify, like, what all do you put in a trade, what all is acceptable. And for this trade, like, it is a very nice, I think, robust piece. You get the entire first run of Headlopper, but you also get some nice extras in the back. And I'm a total sucker, especially for like artist-driven storytelling, that you get some of the character sketches and you get pinup. Like, there's a whole pinup gallery. And talk about, dude, there's some heavy independent hitters for like when this book was done.
Oh yeah.
Raphael Grandpa and Paul Pope in there too.
Yeah, Raphael Grandpa, Joe Delegata is really cool. Mike Mignola did a cover. James Herron.
It was literally all of his like heroes, and I was listening to an interview about this, about Headlopper and stuff, and Andrew Maclean was talking about how he was just doing this as like an independent thing for a little bit until I guess one of the editors for Image or something walked by and like was really digging his stuff and was just like, "Hey, would you want to print this like through Image?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And I think he did like, was it like 45-page issues or something?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that because the way the chapters are broken up is some of them, like the first chapters, it feels like it's only like 12, 15 pages or something. It's pretty short. And then like, but this is like beefy. It's a lot of material in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, getting ready for reading it like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And when I picked up the book, I was like, damn, we did it again, where we just chose like this massive thing to read and talk about. But then as I was like reading it, I was like, oh, that's right. Like every scene is like 4 pages. Like it's just he spaces things out a lot. I love his pacing.
There's a lot of animation going on in this one, especially when he just like the first monster that he kills, when it's like the 4 beats and then the head pops off and then he's like, the blood flows and then he just flies with the blood.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. This really reminds me, like this whole book reminded me of Genndy Tartakovsky. Genndy Tartakovsky. Just like his, like very much like Primal Samurai Jack kind of tone and pacing, and like definitely like visual style. Like there's a connection there. But just like the way things kind of sit in silence. And like there's always like a beat kind of panel where it's just like something happens, it's like even right here the serpent like picks up Headlopper, tosses into his mouth, takes the gulp. It's like those like beats always happen in that animated kind of and then you think everything's cool and then Headlopper comes comes flying out. It's great. Cuts off the head. Great.
You nailed it right there, Kev. The vibe that I got, because of course when I first came across Andrew, I didn't know him. I was just like, ooh, I like the style. It kind of reminded me of Mignola, right? Mike Mignola from all the Hellboy stuff. I was like, that's kind of cool, but it's a little cleaner. But you hit it right on the head. I was definitely in college watching Samurai Jack, like when it started back in 2001. And the more I got into this book, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, this just feels like an awesome Saturday cartoon. Like, definitely more violent, but so much more fun, like stylized. I just got massive jackpot from this.
Definitely. I appreciate like that this comic like really knows what it is and doesn't like try to take itself too seriously or make too much of a joke of itself. Like it kind of just nestles right into that just like fun, like you said, Saturday morning cartoon vibe, where it's just like it's just a high fantasy. Everything's a little adventure. The stakes are, you know, pretty high, but it's just this kind of mysterious character and kind of just getting acclimated to this world, and lots of great adventuring and fights and great monster designs. It's just very, it was an easy read. Like I really did like crush through it, and had just like a ton of fun doing so.
Oh yeah, and I love the map too. When we're going through
totally,
through the book,
issue over issue.
Yeah,
because I love by the like last issue they have like the map that fully charts their whole path through.
Yeah,
where is that? And like having the experience of like read like I think the first 3 or 4 volumes like total, like it's fun to come back to the first one and see like the seeds he was sowing with a lot of these characters, like particularly Zania Kotaka and like all that. Yeah, here's the map with like the actual whole like start here, go up through, like the map maker tells them go this way, they go all the way up through here and do all that.
And I know like when I was listening to this interview too, he talks about how he likes to keep it pretty loose from like volume to volume, but he wants it to go on for like 9 or 10 like volumes or whatever, but he keeps like that writing style pretty loose so he can kind of just do whatever he wants. That's kind of like what keeps it fun for him. So
yeah, I could totally see him like just kind of doing like whatever whenever, like he wouldn't necessarily need to like do it in like a timeline or canon order. Like you could go back and do like Headlopper prequel kind of things, and like you could go way far in the future and it like wouldn't really have any bearing on like the quality of the story if you were just reading volume to volume. Like
and I think, you know, what I really liked about what he tells in this volume, there's some world building, but he stays pretty consistent with his through line of the story. You know, I feel like oftentimes too many independent artists, because again, this is something that he did that he absolutely loved and was telling his own story. They can get too lost on tangents, and then they have to kind of bring themselves back on track. Now, while the story does kind of go off on little adventures here and there, it all still ties back to the main story, which I think is fantastic. He doesn't get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still get to see freaking awesome creatures like gigantic wolves and zombie giants and things like that, which are absolutely gorgeous.
I love, my favorites are the rock frogs.
Oh, yes.
Those, yeah, these guys that just like man flesh. That they just like totally blend in, and then when he first kind of shows you the shape and like what these creatures look like, then you start noticing them all up in the panels of everything else, and like they're just this big presence. Like I really love that, like having them blend in. I mean, and also just the mouth with the tongue, it's like the flower thing, it's just rad. Again, great monster designs, great high fantasy adventure. I remember the way I kind of first described this book to people when I was like recommending it after I read it was like, it's like Adventure Time and Berserk had a baby. Like it's very like fun and silly, and like the animation kind of going on and the style is very like whimsical and cartoony, but it's just like very solemn high fantasy, like just guy with giant sword fuck shit up, and it's awesome.
Yeah. It's very metal. It's very metal. So,
yeah, well, and I mean, you can
just making it so.
Yeah, and you can see like some Conan the Barbarian influences. And Norgal or however you say Norgal.
Norgal,
I
think.
Guys? Okay.
Or Norgal.
Yeah, Norgal and Agatha are the main ones we follow through. Norgal, yeah, he is the heavy metal like Conan BA.
He's like the Frank Frazetta, like British heavy metal like album cover guy.
He's just old.
I love, my favorite exchanges with like Headlopper by far are with the blacksmith. Like
oh yeah,
I love like, just
throwing like quips at each other. You think they're gonna have a fight, and then they're like, "Ah, what's up, bro?"
Yeah, dude, it's so great. Like he literally, like at the end of the book, calls the blacksmith like the son of a whore or something. Yeah. It's just like you're just like, oh my god, like that's so heavy. And then they're just like, oh, I'm so happy that you're like gonna be the steward to the king and like the queen or whatever. We can get into that later, just because I love the entire psychedelic sequence of Zania freaking out the mages. This is so cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, dude. I mean, it's just like so simple, so bare bones in its storytelling. It's like, Headlopper, who is this guy? And he's like, he's on a boat, he's rolling into town, and there's a sea serpent, and he kills the sea serpent, and he's like, job well done. And he moves on to the next thing, you know? He just like gets off the boat with his witch head, meets his buddy, and then it's just like on to the next thing, like the whole time. And the exposition of like Bara, the evil like island spirit man, and then like the what's his name, the steward guy. What is his name?
The steward. The dark-haired dude.
Yeah.
Servan Lulak.
That's right. Servan Lulak.
Which I think is cool because typically, you know, you've got somebody that's more of a weaselly bad guy nature. Like you get backstory of Servan, and he's kind of a BA. I mean, for a while there, I'm thinking, you know, he's got a rough childhood, watches like his dad and his mom get murdered in front of him while he runs away. And I'm like, yeah, I want him to come back, and I want him to like just decimate everybody that has, you know, taken something from him. But he does become more of that worm tongue brute as we see going forward, where he plans on just kind of double crossing everyone and making the kingdom his.
Yeah.
And like all out of petty revenge. Like there's no real like, we're going to take the power for ourselves. Like that is kind of part of it. But I found it interesting that like there was no, I want to be the king because of X, Y, and Z reason. It was just kind of like, I want to be the king because I hate the king and he killed my dad. So screw that guy. Like, and that's just like a funny motivation. I'm sure there was like mention of power and like claim for the kingdom ourselves and all of that in his plans, but kind of didn't matter because he was just like the perfect foil, the perfect villain to kind of just be this instigating force throughout to just disturb Headlopper's quest of ridding the plague of beasts from the Isle of Bara.
And one thing that I absolutely love, and something that I feel like I need to get better at, you know, we talked a lot about in the last two books about color and just how color is used. And I definitely feel, oh man, Mike Spicer is killing it on color. And every location or every kind of set piece kind of has its own uniqueness. I mean, you brought up, you know, you get your standard greens and everything of the countryside. But when you were talking about creatures, Kev, you brought up the rock lizards and like the rock lizard area.
That's my favorite.
Oh, dude, the colors are so gorgeous.
One thing I love about Mike's colors in this book is that it's so different from the colors in Murder Falcon. Like that was like lots of value differences and textures and loud and high contrast and crazy shit. And this book is like, I just love how many like panels for the most part are just like flat in color. Like they almost look like just like really spruced up flats of pages. And I mean, it's like so minimal.
He's letting the drawing talk, you know. I mean, I would argue that he does the same thing with Dan, but he definitely puts a bit more texture and value and stuff in that. But this one is just like, this is like purely design. If you just blacked out Norgel, or blacked out any of the characters at all, you could tell who's who, you know. So every character design, every monster design is so clear to where all you need to do is just throw in like a flat color and it's done. you know.
Yeah, and like
the hard work has pretty much been the heavy lifting has been done with Andrew Maclean's designs, and it's amazing.
And that's why I love going back to his sketchbook and all of his concept work in the back matter, because it's all there. Like you can just clearly tell, like nothing really extra had to be done. Like I just like love his lines. Like everything's so like simplistic in like shape and like I don't know.
It's definitely a cartoon, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is made to be like the next Adventure Time kind of animated show.
Dude, the thing that I kept getting tripped up on was feet throughout the whole book. Like I just loved the decision to basically just say feet don't matter. Like, you know, when people are like flying through the air, the feet's just like become little points at the end of their legs. Like, let me find a good panel of that. But just really,
I know we have
like just mangled like claws and feet, and like he's in an action pose, but his leg just kind of tapers off into a cone shape. It's like great.
I know we haven't talked about Trad more a lot, which I know we will definitely get to Trad. But something that Brad, I always notice in his work, and I notice it at Andrew's too, they have a fantastic way of building pattern into character textures. And so you'll see like some characters, they're just like a consistent pattern, or the way that Andrew builds set pieces. Like it's all about this like wonderful way that he can bring pattern to build texture, to build environment into everything. And, you know, I think even when you see some of the interiors of the castle, like interiors of the castle, just it has that wonderful feeling and texture. But the kilts, like he has a fantastic way. You see, like on some of the characters that are fighting, like the big Bat Kingdom, like the kilts on those characters. The gosh, you were showing it there, Kev, when we were just talking about the rock lizards. Like the rock lizards have so much amazing texture, and you can just feel what those characters feel like. Absolutely amazing. Love it.
Stone. It's just like the Mike Mignola's way of doing stone and stuff too, like those little tick marks that you'd see on Hellboy. It's like, this dude's tough. Like especially like on his hand and everything, or on like stone walls, you'll see those little bits for texture. It just feels solid.
One thing I love about what you brought up, Ben, was like the idea of patterns, and like he really creates a sense of geography even on these panels where, you know, it feels like he's going far and he's jumping across all these kind of dicey obstacles with ease, and like he's in these very vast canyons. Like there's always this sense of like, you know exactly where you are and where everything is, even when he's kind of doing things to break up the geography of locations. I think that comes really like back into like pattern recognition and like very clear silhouette designs, and just like knowing how to cover a scene with different angles without you feeling disoriented. But like, you know, we're back to these things, and you know, we just return to it, and it's just such an easy callback to like add a dynamic kind of animated action sequence across this panel, like compared to like the hop panel of like the page or two prior. You know, matching this up here down with this sequence where now he's jumping and fighting and flipping and lopping heads.
And I mean, he definitely has Norgal live up to the name, right? There is a lot of head lopping in this book, so
much.
If that's something that you're into. Like if you like characters just walking around cutting off heads of people and creatures, like you will get it in spades. Like he does not hold back, which is again, when I buy a book called Headlopper, that's what I'm in for. I'm like, yes,
I'm ready.
I was like reading this on the couch. My dad walked by and he was like, "What are you reading?" And I was like, "Headlopper," and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "It's this comic book. It's like a high fantasy book. this guy with this giant sword, and he cuts the heads off monsters. He's like, oh. I was like, yeah, he lops them off. And he's like, yeah, head lopper. And I was like, yeah, you get it.
Yeah, you get it.
And I was like, the full exchange. Because my dad is not a sword and sorcery kind of high fantasy guy. So he just being able to like establish that is like, this is what this book is. And he was immediately like, yeah, I get that. It's just really funny to me.
I love that panel right there that we're looking at with the arm pulling that rock head off.
Oh yeah.
You see it doesn't even bleed, and it doesn't go into the bleed area. It's just the panel. It's cut off. It's part of the design, and it's great. That's a bold choice, I feel like. Especially with like the negative space in the back. Because to me, I would just like go into the bleed, but yeah, he's just like, no, this looks good.
Well, it just shows that like you can definitely tell a story and not have to like overdo things. I think with what we were talking about in the past 2 books that we reviewed, there is a lot and we definitely highlighted all the influences from manga and a lot of the Japanese sources like that. One thing that I love is he is not afraid to just focus on what's like. He doesn't have to have a full panel of speed line showing everything off. It's like, nope, we're going to hack this thing's head off and we're just going to show that. And I love that. Now, that's not to say there aren't other pages and panels where he does, kind of use that same stylistic pieces from manga and whatnot. But I do love the fact that he is just not afraid. It's like, no, we're just going to show this thing decapitated. And him throwing the head at like another one of the rock creatures. Again, that
like a warning shot.
It's not heavy-handed, but there's so many little comical beats. And I know Agatha, like the blue head or the blue witch, and she's this living head that he carries around. She definitely does play into more of the like deliberate funny moments, but he doesn't lean on this stuff. But it's just the little offhanded things like that where I love, I'm going to cut this one's head off, I'm going to throw it at the other one, and the other one backs away because he's like, well, the same's coming to you.
I love the it's just and like, yeah, one thing I really like, obviously the joke, like when he eats, like when Agatha the Blue Witch eats the hand and then kind of just like it oozes out of the bottom of her stump, is just like great comedy. But like certain things that he did in this book were like so tonally mismatched, but like worked really well. Like, because, everybody speaks in like that classic high fantasy kind of almost like in like iambic pentameter or like some sort of like ancient prose, but like then he'll have moments where he just like totally breaks that like chain of communications. And like there's that one panel where I'll have to find it where it's just like, I'm coming for you, you motherfucker. Like, it's just like so different, like so off kilter. And like Agatha does that a lot with her little jokes and stuff like that. And it's just like this nice little reprieve, kind of like almost regrounding you, because like you get so wrapped up in the fancy flowery language. Just an interesting choice.
I love it because it does break you from that and allows you to like almost gives you those hell yeah moments, but doesn't fully remove you from the rest of the book.
Totally. I just really like this book, guys. This book is a lot of fun. I love the pacing. I love how every moment like really breathes and everything is like very deliberately structured. I just think it's like, this is what I like about Andrew's style just generally. Like Apocalyptic Girl is very similar. And it's just like a lot of silence and a lot of letting moments sit with the reader and like really controlling like pace and tone, and then letting things like ramp up naturally and like getting really dynamic and wacky and fun and then settling back down.
And apparently we lost Manny, so that's why we got radio silence from him at the moment.
Oh no, what happened there?
His internet went out.
Oh no. Well, he'll be back.
Yes.
My sweet boy. He'll come back.
And next time I run into Andrew, I've got to ask him, because you're like one page turn away from this little raccoon woodland like spirit creature. And again, we talk about some of the influences of the artists over in Japan and whatnot, and I get such a like Miyazaki vibe from this little deer-horned, raccoon-tailed.
Yeah, what's his name? Whittle or something like that.
Nim.
Nim.
G-N-Y-M. Nim.
Yeah,
I think.
Nim.
Yeah. I mean, he's such a fun character, but
for me, I always get like Adventure Time vibes. Like he looks like Magic Man from Adventure Time, if you know what I'm talking about.
Totally.
Ton of fun, but yeah. Again, that's all I kept thinking. I just kept thinking about like Cartoon Network when I was reading this. Like even the first time. I mean, honestly, like just to take a little break, like from this book specifically, but like the first time I actually like even heard of Headlopper, Manny bought like one at the local shop, and he was just like, "Oh, yeah, this book is cool," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," and I didn't really like look at it or anything. I was just like, "Yeah, Manny bought it. It's probably a good book." And then we were at the Felix table at Heroes Con 2021 or 2022. And like we were talking to Daniel Warren Johnson for a while, and then Andrew was just kind of sitting right next to him, like quietly, and he had all of his books out, and I was like, "These books are sick." And I was like, "I'm just gonna buy all of them," and he was like, "Oh, thanks, dude." And then like I just ended up talking to him for a while, and I loved the doodle that he does of Agatha in the book, like as his little signature.
That is fantastic.
Just a really rad guy. And then of course got to like hang out with him a bit this past year as well. You were there, Ben, you remember.
I was, and that was something I was going to bring up. Knowing now just some of the conversations that we had with Andrew, and especially his love for Godzilla and the old like giant kaiju creatures. And again, all these guys, they have like so many similar passions, but they have their own unique way of representing them. I love in this book, like you kind of get this buildup of creatures. Like you've got the giant wolves, you've got the like
whatever the hell this guy is.
Yeah, the flying bats, like the giant bat humanoid creatures, which are so cool. Again, oh man, so many Samurai Jack vibes from like the bat creatures. And then you go to like the zombie giants and the ghosts, and his ghost looks so much like Mike Mignola's ghosts, which you can see he's had some influences. But it builds up, like this whole story builds up to the final climactic battle. And it is like the biggest creature that we've seen throughout the entire series so far. But I like this steady build up in like creatures and like how big they are. And each time Norgal has to find a way to overcome them.
No, totally. And like, I love like each one of these like creatures and the way that they're peppered in and the different like little goblin spirits and like Ganim and the witches and the boatmen with the ghost river. Yeah. Like I just love that they're all like the world building aspect that they all bring, like because it's just like totally normalized in this like high fantasy world. It's not like, you know, the clean cut like differences in like a Tolkien fantasy world where there's dwarves and there's elves and they all live separately and they have their prejudices or whatever. It's just kind of like this melting pot wild land of like all of these different creatures and races and whatever, and the way that they all kind of coexist and like accept each other's like mythology in a way, like the way that, you know, especially with the like Ghost River Boatman and stuff like that.
What about like the twin witch sisters too? Like even those,
who are like addicted to smoking like fairy dust.
You keep using all the dust. We gotta afford more dust.
I also love like the like in those zombie giants, the way they just kind of like fall apart like Legos, like the head chops, like they just like pops off, and it's just like a clean stump. There's no blood. It looks like it would almost fit together like a Mega Block. Just such a funny way to represent that. And again, like, such a funny, striking image of just Agatha's head, like, just being held on to by her, like, big blue dreadlocks. And the way he, like, swings her around and just throws her and points her at stuff. And she just, like, seems, like, to completely be unbothered by it the entire time, which I think is so funny.
Yeah, it seems like the only thing she complains about is she's always hungry. She's like, I want food. And it's the one thing that, of course, we see when he feeds that rock lizard hand to her. He's like, there's no point in feeding you. Like, it just comes out the other side. You get nothing from this. But, of course, you know, she doesn't complain at all when she's being tossed in, like, a wolf's mouth and all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Are you back with us, Manny?
Manny's back.
My internet went out for a second, so I had to redo that, but I'm back.
Awesome.
One of my favorite Agatha moments is, of course, her big climactic moment where, you know, he's fighting the giant chimera creature boss fight at the end, and he cuts off one of the heads, and he's just like, you imbecile, cut off 1,000 heads, and I will grow 1,000 more. There is nothing you can do. And then she just like, wah,
yeah.
blows up. I love the subtle, like, I don't even know if you can catch this because of my lighting, but just the subtle line work, and it's so cool. This book is just cool. It's just fun. I love it. Not every comic book just gets to be this like clean, you know, not clean in terms of content, but just like, it's just pure comics. Like, you know, it's just like get in, get out, fun adventure, high fantasy story. You get the great action moments, you get the blips of comedy, great monster designs. It's all there on the page, and, you know, full experience that's deeply satisfying.
Yeah. And he doesn't go super crazy with the detail either, which is, you know, very hard thing for me to do in terms of simplifying, but he does it so well. And then he kind of does, like, when there's a moment where our headlopper guy is like, we get a close-up of his face, and we get, like, you know, we'll get a little bit more detail, but then we also get those little sequences where he's doing nothing but action, and it's just like 2 lines for his face, like a V for the mustache and like a line for the eyes, you know, like that stuff kills me. I love it.
But I love that they also do like the, you know, Ren and Stimpy thing where they do the extreme close-ups and you do get all that detail.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you see like all the tracks and stuff. Yeah.
Which this is actually probably the best sequence in the book, is when they're chained up with Zania Kotaka. Like, what a fucking great one-pager. Just like splash of him on the giant X. Like, that's just so cool. The muscle definition is rad.
Dude, he's like, him and Tyrell Cannon are, they're just like, I feel like they're big toy guys, because every single time I look at Andrew's stuff, I see just like toy vibes, and then we see like toys on his desk at Comic-Con and stuff. Yeah. And then looking at Tyrell Cannon stuff, he's just nothing but power, right?
Did this toy ever actually come out? Was that a real thing?
I think he had a few. He didn't have many, but yeah, I saw the coming soon, and I'm like, I want one of those.
Because I know his Godzilla toys were like hundreds of dollars at Heroes Con.
It's like, I can't do that.
I was like, dude, I love you, but I already own all of your books, and your toys are like hundreds of dollars, and I cannot afford that. He's like, it's all right, man. He was a great dude. Like talking to him, hanging out with him. I remember when we were all drinking together, I was like talking about Catholicism with him, and I was like, and he confused something I said where he was like, you think Headlopper is like heavily got Catholic themes in it? And I was like, no, that's not what I mean. Well, actually, and then I was just like, let me think about that. And every time I read Headlopper, I'm like, I'm gonna have to find the Catholic in it, because he and I are both kind of like Reformed Catholics in that regard, where you grow up Catholic and it just kind of sticks with you forever. But like, I was just like, now I have to like, that's like the essay I would write and present to him. Like, here's my fan theory. Here's my like full critique of purely Catholic lens of Headlopper. But I was too tired and didn't want to get into that for this video. But I'll do it one day.
Yeah.
Oh, there's got to be something there, right?
Definitely. My initial theory was just his intense conviction, like to just never stop no matter what. Like, it feels Catholic in nature. I also think his just general distrust of all other religions and spirituality is also a part of that.
I mean, the very beginning, we go up to Norgel goes up to one of the like church guys, and he's like, "Oh yeah, humble, huh?" And then he rips off like the diamond. And
that
like,
too. I was definitely pegged that.
Yeah.
You would steal from a holy man?
Yeah.
And I have to say that there's so many great pieces like that where you get these side characters and you they pop up throughout the book, and like they don't change motives. They continue to be who they are. And everything, like you get these nice little payoffs as you go throughout the book, which I think are fantastic. So like each character kind of gets their own story within the story.
Yeah.
Definitely. Really neat little arcs for all the prominent side characters. And by prominent, I mean they just get a couple pages interspersed throughout the story to like add totality to them. But that's like a really good way to just make an entire story feel complete, you know? Everybody's arc gets some sort of conclusion.
Dude, just looking at him in the first few pages and then towards the back is like definitely like different characteristics are growing on it, Andrew, as he's drawing this guy, you know.
I love this panel.
Just getting beefier and beefier.
This one he gets his hand bitten. This is such a great angle. The triangle shapes are really fun there.
I always think it's so interesting, and you know, if people are Daniel Warren Johnson fans, you can see this if you have like his space mullet trade paperback, and Andrew, you can see it. It takes about 20 pages, like for them to find their groove, and I found that myself. Like, I definitely feel like most artists are trying to find these characters as they're starting off with like their first books, and it just takes a while. Now, of course, Andrew has done some other amazing books, and he knows those characters as soon as he starts. So it's all that, you know, artist's first book type stuff where it just takes a while to find the right way that these characters need to be.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was just listening to this interview with Ryan North, who's doing the Fantastic Four run right now for Marvel, and he did like the Squirrel Girl run in the mid 2010s that was like really popular. And like he was talking about how like when he first got Squirrel Girl, he like brought in his first draft of the first issue to his editor. I think it was Will Moss at Marvel. And basically like he read it and he was like, this is good, but I just feel like Squirrel Girl doesn't like, wouldn't she want to help like solve everyone's problems by helping them and not defeating them? And like that like piece of advice like made him click, and he was like, okay, now I finally understand who this character is and how to like write a story about her and like really get into the weeds with it. And then like he just described that moment as like being the click. And like I feel like that's true. Like you often need to have that discovery period where you're really trying to understand what you're getting at, for writers and for artists.
Yeah.
And like of course he had Erica Henderson, who's just like one of the best. So like lucky bastard. But like, you know, I think that also is just like a case for editors. Like a good editor will actually get you there faster, and you don't have to sit there and kind of iterate and labor on these things, you know?
Yeah.
God, this book is rad. Just love flipping through it again.
And like I said, the big kaiju fight at the end, you know, the 3-headed dude, you showed that off it just again shows that Andrew's love for monsters. And I know he and Jake are working on the Godzilla book, which I think is wrapping up soon, if it hasn't wrapped up already. So if you're a Godzilla fan, if you're a fan of Andrew Maclean, like definitely check that book out. But yeah, you've got the giant 3-headed.
And this is actually my favorite monster in the whole book. The like scorpion with the jewel belly in the in the dungeon.
Clown face on the tail.
Such a cool detail. And like this, like seeing this monster like makes me desperately wish that there was like a Souls-like game where I could play in this kind of cartoon style.
Dude, that would be amazing.
If there was a Dark Souls game that looked like this, it would be my favorite video game of all time. Like,
oh man, there's I forget his name, but there's a dude I follow on Instagram that he does 3D models, and he does like the lips, how Andrew draws lips on these characters, like the giant like fucking spaghetti-o kind of thing. And it literally, I feel like that person would be perfect for doing 3D models for Headlopper. I need to dig in my archives and find it and send it to you guys, because it's so good. Oh man.
Yeah. I also think that, you know, like you were saying before, Ben, how Andrew said he could do 9 or 10 whole volumes of Headlopper. Like, I think this book really just like proves it as a proof of concept. Like, it just lays such a perfect groundwork for like building this fantasy world, or at least like, because correct me if I'm wrong, but the second and third volumes take place like on different islands, right? Or different parts of.
Yes.
Yeah. And so like, just like giving you that sense of scale, but like that anything goes. But even though anything goes and he can do whatever he wants, like he's established like the trust to be able to like carry out that consistency. Like, you know, like he makes it feel just like a real lived in fantasy world with its own set of rules, but like in a very abstract way. Like it's never like spoon fed to you. There's no like Jonathan Hickman style like appendix pages where there's just like articles of text. It's just like all there, like, and it's satisfying to get just the little bit you're sprinkled, you know, you don't need everything to understand this.
Well, and we're only covering volume 1, but I want to say he's got 4 different arcs that he covers. Like this encapsulates the whole first like story that he had in him. I'm trying to find like a full listing.
There's 4
names. Okay.
I don't know the names of like the subtitles to each volume, but I know there is one. But because this one is what the island or a plague of beasts. I love like we were saying before, every high fantasy story has to have a Colosseum arc, and that was what Headlopper 3. Where the whole and then he also does like or maybe that was 2 and 3 was the one with the siege of the town. That one is rad. That like whole walled off city, that's basically like that arc from Berserk.
Yeah, so I want to say the second one is the Crimson Tower.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
God, Crimson Tower was so good. And then the Knights of Venora. That's the walled off city one, which I absolutely love that one as well. So good.
I think I crushed all 3 volumes like back to back to back. I tend to like do that with my comics where like I read the first volume and I go, okay, that was amazing. And then I just try to buy every other volume in like one go and just like crush through it. I literally did that with Ice Cream Man. I just like bought the first volume on a whim because I was like, well, this looks really messed up and I think I'll like this a lot. And then I read it and I was like, oh, this is like exactly my taste. I love this so much. And then I went back out to the store and bought all 7 volumes. Just like in one go and just crushed them. I do that with pretty much everything Brubaker puts out too, where I'm just like, what? I didn't know that existed. And then I just read the whole thing.
And I love the fact this is just me being a comic nerd. Like these tend to be, he titles them as volumes. So even if you're buying the independent issues, like the one-offs, like you'll see volume 1 issue whatever, and so you'll know like what's part of a certain story arc, even if it's not listed on there. So
did you buy any of these as single issues, Ben?
Yes. So I have Crimson Tower the entire run in singles, and again, the single issues, amazing. Like you're looking at what, like 36 or 42 plus pages.
Whoa.
Like he does not mess around when it comes to like releasing these as singles. So they're nice, thick issues. The covers are always well done and well constructed. Gorgeous covers. But yeah, I have all of Crimson Tower and all of the Knights of Venora. I think I messed up. I have most of what Volume 4 is, and I'm trying to remember what Volume 4 was called.
Yeah, mine's in the other room. I'd have to go dig it out. But
the quest for Mulgrid's Stare.
Yeah, that sounds. I'll have to. I have a couple issues of that, and I screwed up and decided to move from out of state. So messed up that run. So I'm gonna have to just go and throw down on the volumes to catch up, because it's very hard like to find the single issues of this, or maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. Next time I run by Acme, I'll have to ask the guys. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm getting the itch to go back to Acme.
I will be there Saturday.
Oh.
So you wanna carpool? We can make that happen.
I could be into that actually. I mean, I would have to go to your place, but I'm assuming that'd be out of the way for me. Let me just take a look.
Yeah, we'll talk more. But
oh yeah, I'm not gonna dox you here. I'm just gonna put the your general location in Google Maps because I don't know your address. But
I was just yeah, I can't say enough great things about like the Headlopper series. If you're, like you said, you call it high fantasy. Yeah, if you're in high fantasy, swords and magic, and you like a little sense of humor thrown in, it is awesome. In the later volumes, you actually get backstory about Agatha, so you find out who Agatha was before she was just this disembodied head that Norgal mistreats hilariously.
I do want to. I don't. Has it? Am I misremembering? There, we don't have an actual origin story of how they met yet, right?
I can't. I know you. I want to say that it goes all the way up to where he cuts her head off. I will have to go back and reread those issues. I'm trying to remember if it was in Crimson Tower or the.
I truly cannot remember. It's been so long. And by so long, I mean like maybe a year or two. But also, Ben, I just did a quick look on Google Maps. It would actually, it's kind of out of the way for me to go to you first, so we can just meet in Greensboro. I have to dip kind of far south to get to you.
No worries.
But I'm still into that. Manny, of course, you're not invited. I hate you.
I got D&D on. Like
we get it. You have friends.
Oh. All right.
I think I told Manny yesterday, and Manny was like, "No, I'm gonna go hang out with cool people, play D&D, and you're not invited."
I don't have time to hang out with you nerds at the comic book store.
God, you're so weird.
Who even reads comics? That's so lame.
Yeah, seriously, that's dumb. I just put them on my bookshelf and I look at them. I look at the spine, not even the interior.
No, there's some books that I kind of want to get. Now I'm just like Googling stuff while I'm supposed to be on this stream. But does anyone know offhand if Ryan North's Fantastic Four has been collected in trade yet? Because that's what I want.
Hopefully somebody in chat can look it up for us. I do not know off the top of my head.
Because I want that. I want it really bad. Dude, because I don't buy single issues because I'm too lazy to go to the store. Set up a pull box.
Can I just say again, like the pinup gallery in the back, because I know we've been going through the book itself, and we just barely scratched the pinup gallery. But you named so many, dude. Raphael Grandpa, Grandpa, who is doing the amazing job on Batman. Like, he has a pinup back here. Gabriel Ba, who I absolutely love, and I think
James Herron.
Yeah, James Herron has one. Trad has one.
Dude, Trad's is amazing. Like, I want to see ultra-violent, just short run, if Trad would ever do one.
Yeah, I love the different interpretations, like the hyper realism on Max Fiumara's is like really cool. Of course, I mean, James Herron, it goes without saying. I also love how the beasts that are heads that are flying through this are like totally James Herron and not like Andrew Maclean at all. Like those are just distinctly James Herron ships. I mean, Mignola going with this super minimal, just like, you know. And this is what I think is interesting, is that it's 2014. I don't know when this book was originally put out, but this dates back to 2016. So, like, you know, just that early on of him being like, no, Andrew's the man. I'm going to do his cover or pin up for him.
So
like,
cool.
Yeah, Michael Avon Aiming. Oh, that one's rad. Some of these people I don't know, but I'm curious. Like, I'm not familiar with Toby Cypress, but this one is rad.
Gorgeous. Like, you talk about Frank Frazetta, like that has like a mashup between Frazetta and Sean Gordon Murphy. Like, that's the kind of vibe. Like,
yes.
So cool.
That like really scratchy, heavy, like, dude, even like this like almost like charcoal looking Tyler Jenkins piece is rad. This is like playing with that negative space so well. I love that.
I'm gonna have to look to see. I can't remember. I believe Andrew actually like did a call out for like, hey, make some cool headlopper pieces, and I can't remember what year it was, but I was following him on Instagram, so I've done my own like Norgal sitting on top of a bunch of heads piece as well.
I'll have to see that. You need to dig that up for me. Oh yeah, James Stokoe's is rad.
Dude, James is the
all
like,
the heads
wrapped in. You get all the twine wrapping all the heads together. Just so cool.
So cool.
All the eyes.
Yeah. Absolutely love it.
I also love Andrew's About the Creator page. The ghost of Andrew Maclean haunts a Civil War era ammunition bunker dug into the cliff along the stony beach of Winter Island in Salem, Massachusetts. The hovel is shared with an as yet unnamed silverfish, the bones of long dead witches, and his beloved wife Erin. When not writing and drawing comics, he sets ghost fires alight in the bay to mock lighthouses, guiding unsuspecting sailors astray, dooming them to wreck upon the treacherous shallows of Salem Harbor, a fate he himself once endured. Which, isn't he from Kansas City? Isn't that where he's based out of? Does he even have
maybe where he's based out of? I don't know if that's
where he's originally from.
Yeah,
because I just know that Kansas City scene is like crazy. Because you got Jake Smith, you got Scotty Young, and his whole studio that he's got going down there. So there's a real scene going on in Kansas City. You gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Although, you know where there's a real scene popping up is in the Piedmont region of North Carolina.
That's right.
Man, there are some good comics artists in the Piedmont region of North Carolina.
and writers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent in the Piedmont region of North Carolina.
And I'm going to have to, I've got a book that's we're hoping to self-publish, but I love this little, you were showing Andrew's About the Creator, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you get the advertisement for Apocalyptic Girl, which again,
also
absolutely
good.
Love. So good.
Yeah, that book rips.
The Norgal figure. But then you get this 2-page spread of Agatha and that freaking skull from earlier. Dude, it's such a great button to the end of this.
It's like just a blueprint.
Yeah. Little comedy on the way out. This is why you have no friends.
I just love the idea that like Agatha is like this lame like borscht belt comedian doing terrible shtick, riding on Headlopper's back the entire time, like, and just doing her bits to anyone who will listen is just like very funny to me as like a concept. God, this 2-pager is rad. Point me at him. She's just like a gun.
Oh yeah. So cool. And he's having fun. Like that's what I love about this book. It's just he was having fun the whole time he made this. You can just see it.
I also don't know like what the release schedule was like on this book originally. And like how it just like actually released, and when he's got like his new volumes and how those actually release, because I'm just a wait for the trade lifer.
I think it was when I was listening to it, I think he said every quarter he released an issue. Yeah,
it's actually
that makes sense.
It's printed on the cover of the books. They're quarterly novels, like a quarterly volume.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
What is that? Oh, like on the actual single issues?
On the singles, yep.
That's awesome. He just pitched that idea to Image. Was like, I think I want to do like, you know, every few months release one. And they're like, yeah, sure. If that's what you want to do, we'll do that. And he was like, cool.
But that's also why I love the fact that even though it's once a quarter, like the issues, the singles are so thick that it's like, oh my gosh, I've waited like all quarter for this. And then you just sit there and you devour like a full 40 pages of this amazing book because you've been waiting for it for so long. And it totally makes the experience worth it.
Yeah. And like, I feel like because this didn't initially come out quarterly, it was like picked up later. At least that was my assumption from kind of the cover gallery in the back. And like based like loosely on what you were saying earlier, was just like he was working on this and they were like, do you want to put this out on Image? And he was like, yeah. Because it's like the Island part 1 and 2, and then I'm sure that then there's like the Plague of Beasts where like the 3 and the 4. Just the only reason I bring that up is just because the issues are like mismatched, like, or the chapters I mean are like kind of mismatched in size and like vary. So I just like, I think that like he probably kind of, I have to go back and reread issue like volumes 2, 3, and 4 just to see like that pacing changed at all, just to kind of like better account for an actual like scheduled timed release and like how each piece of the puzzle was like actually formally structured.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, man. That's like, people don't like, this is like a writer and artist like just like thing, but like just the idea of I have a whole graphic novel to tell the story versus I'm going to tell this story in 5 or 6 or 8 distinct 20-page increments, and like building those, that's 2 very different ways to build a story, and like it's rare that they just like one template works for the other at all. Yeah. Things you think about
all the time. I think about them all the time.
Oh yeah, well, like, because I was listening to, like, again, bringing up this Ryan North interview, but it's because I was literally listening to it while I was walking the dog like 2 hours ago. But like, because like he did Squirrel Girl as like a whole continuous arc, basically. Like, I mean, there were like smaller arcs as a part of it, but it was like one giant story versus like his Fantastic Four, where every issue is a story, and like just the difference and the challenge of like every month you have to have a 20-page short story that is like got a full arc and resolution. It's just like such a different way to space it out than like you going, oh well, I have 6 issues to tell this arc, so I'm going to do it this way, you know. Nerd stuff, real structure.
Agatha and that skull, I want him to like bring the skull back, and Agatha and the skull like get together, because their banter, it's timeless. Absolutely love it.
Or if you just build that into like every like volume where she just has another inanimate object that she's like talking to. It's like, I'm trying to think of like the easiest comparison. I don't know why, like it just makes me think about Kite Man, but I can't figure out why. Like from the Harley Quinn show.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to pour myself another beer because I am parched. Yeah, you're sick. Well, don't drink. I am in perfect health.
Maybe I need whiskey. That's it. Little bourbon through it.
Was it a hot tamale? Is that what it's called?
A hot toddy.
Hot toddy, yes. Hot tamale.
Hot tamale.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I have one of those too.
Oh, man.
I have to, like, again, just this book as we're leafing through it, there's just so much that he's able to do with this short story. Short story. Hell, it's how many pages is this thing? Like, it's a beefy volume.
Yeah. So much beef.
So much beef.
I think the first one is the heaviest. Or the biggest.
So, reading the inner cover, because again, I didn't pick this up in like singles. I only have the trade. But it says originally published in single magazine form as Headloppers issue 1 through 3. All of this was only published as 3 independent like publication, like pieces, which I think is amazing. Just knowing how thick this book is, and if you had to separate it out, like the issues would have been massive.
Yeah. Dang, dude. I mean, yeah, he was doing the indie thing for a little bit until Image picked him up. But I wonder what those first ones looked like. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Like I want one.
Well, if I find one this weekend, I'll be grabbing. Well, if I find many this weekend, I'll be grabbing at least 2 copies of each. So I'll make sure I grab one for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Dude, it's so good. I love the king's backstory and the way that like you find out that the king is the one that killed the parents of our buddy Servan, who's kind of the worm tongue guy.
Yeah.
And you get all that backstory because Headlopper is taking like the River Styx boat over to the Magic Island, and the corpse of the king comes up out of the water and like gives you his backstory. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I would just want to compliment myself on this beer pour I just did. I mean, just look at like that's just aesthetically pleasing. It tastes so good.
Oh my. Is it a true Guinness and a Guinness?
No, it's Imperial Porter from Noda Brewing.
Wow.
Oh, Noda is delicious.
It's like a commercial beer right there.
Oh yeah.
That's what that looks like.
Pouring
if
a
we're
good
just
beer.
Chatting,
yeah.
If we're just chatting, Noda had I think it was called No Santa for the holidays.
Mm.
That was amazing. It was like a spiced Imperial IPA. Dude, it was, and even though it had all the spice taste to it and everything on the can itself, I swear they're just lying to you on the can. Like, we put absolutely no spices in this beer. I'm like, you're full of crap. There's no way. You can't have a beer taste like this and not have any added spices. But it was delicious.
In those like winter spice ones, they love to use things like clove and cardamom and cinnamon and stuff like that.
Yeah. But they said they didn't. They're like, there's none of that in here. I'm like, you're lying. But It's amazing. I don't care.
I don't care. I'll drink it.
That's right.
I don't like this depiction of smoke and haze, but just as like one solid shape is so cool. I love the way he did this.
It feels like a wall. It feels like an impermeable surface, and all you can see are through like the little cracks. Everything else is just like, good luck. Too dense. Like you can't get.
Kind of reminds me of like Mario, like Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like clouds and everything that pop up. Yeah.
Yeah. I get those vibes.
Is there anything we missed talking about this? Is there anything we didn't bring up at all? Any sequences?
I mean, you were on that one. The hey, when that thing's coming through the haze, and it's you get the hey you're gonna die, and then you realize it's the lady that's on the cross next to him. That's like, yeah, you're gonna die if you don't snap out of this. But you get like the weird, happy, fun time, clownish thing that looks like it's talking to him. So I just love it.
Anything with just lots of legs and like pincers and eyes and kind of vaguely furry. It's like, it just hits. It's just checking all my boxes for a good creature. Trying to think if we didn't cover any other creatures. I guess we can talk about the boatman to the underworld. I love this sequence. Pregnant wife. You build that connection to the king, who was also a horrible person at the beginning, and so now you feel conflicted about how he's going to die in a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I was bringing that up as you were going and getting the beer, because I love the fact that as he's crossing the river with the boatman, like the king's corpse comes up out of the water, and it's just like, I'm going to tell you my story. And it doesn't seem like, it sounds really goofy when I say it that way, but I absolutely love how he gives, again, more detail, more character information to help just give depth, and it's not heavy-handed. It's so good.
I love this.
Just like an Elden Ring encounter, you know? You're just like going through the woods, and then like people just start talking to
you. Yeah.
It's like, what?
This is an aside, but I just did the quest, Manny, where you go, you talk to like Ronnie in her spot up in, or Rena, like up in her tower, and she's like, you got to go find these 3 warriors and get them to go to the festival in the underground city. And so you like find the wolf guy and the giant smith and then the other mage, and you do all their quest lines to like then go under to the Eternal City and then fight Radon. Which that is just one of the most annoying boss fights I've ever done in my life. Have you beaten Radon yet?
Which one was Radon?
He's the one where you have to go out to like that big like desert plain, and then like you can summon the spirits, and he just like throws swords at you and goes, but he's like gigantic on his tiny little horse.
I literally, my buddy was watching me fight that. I almost killed him first try.
Dude,
without
same.
without the people. I was like, what do I do? And I'm just like kicking ass, and then I die, and I'm like, no, and then it was dying constantly after that until my buddy was like, you know, you can spawn in people, right? I was like, what do you mean?
I literally just spawned in those people like once I got to the second phase of the fight. Like, because then he was like just doing those like hit combos where if you're anywhere near him, you just die in like one hit basically.
Yeah.
And like, so I just let them be like cannon fodder and then wait till he like cycled out of that animation and then just like brought the hammer down.
I just upgraded my bow or crossbow, whatever I was using, and I just like got him from afar while I had everyone like distract him. That was the move for me.
The game rules. It's so good. Yeah. It comes in waves where I just don't play it for like months, and then I'm like, okay, all I want to do for a week straight is just play Elden Ring.
Yeah, let me remember how to play this game.
Yeah. Just run around and figure it out, and then you're like, what was I doing? Oh, this is cool. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Like,
yeah, it's great, and it's just like Headlopper. It's fantastic.
Yeah, tying it in, basically all high fantasy reminds me of itself.
Yeah.
Elden Ring makes me think of Headlopper, which makes me think of Berserk, which makes me think of Lord of the Rings, and all sorts of things like The Witcher and all my favorite fantasy worlds, because it's all cool.
I was just waiting for the opportunity to call you both nerds for talking about Elden Ring, so never mind.
Never mind.
You're like, dang, I also like high fantasy.
Yeah. Well,
damn it, he's right. It is awesome.
Here's one of the nerdiest things about me. I like falling asleep to Elden Ring lore videos. I just like put it on YouTube, and then it's just some British guy just being like, Radon was the lord of blah, 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 and I'm just like, yeah. And I listen to it for like 5 minutes and pass out.
Damn, I would just listen to the Skyrim soundtrack.
My dad came downstairs last night while I was reading. I just had like College of Winterhold like ambience on in the background, where it's just like plays the music and does like little like slow pan shots of the College of Winterhold. Okay, and he was like, "What is that?" And I'm just like, oh, "I'm just vibing." It was such a cozy vibe though. I was curled up on the couch with my dog, my book, my Skyrim music. It was great.
Yeah, they just have like the rain, you know, like the rainstorm ones. I would put that on a lot, and then it would just have like what's his name? Jeremy Soule, is that the composer or whatever that put it together? But yeah, it would just have that music playing on loop for like 8 hours straight. So I'd wake up and it would still be going. I'm like, today's a good day.
Yeah, those like 10-hour videos came in clutch when I was like when I first adopted Hopper, and I had him sleeping in the bed and he was snoring so loud that I couldn't sleep. So I would just put on my head like ear AirPods and like blast like ambient like Skyrim music and Legend of Zelda Rainy Towns and things like that, and just like have something on to block out the noise of his chainsaw snoring.
So is that something you can do with like Headlopper and like the Skyrim soundtrack? Can you like Dark Side of the Moon it to where you match up all the music from like one of the Skyrim music videos to like match
up? I was when I was listening to that one interview with Andrew Maclean, he talked about like someone asked him about what would the albums be, or what albums was he listening to, and the 3 that he put down was Macedon, Symphony X, and Blind Guardian, which I don't know those 2, but or Blind Guardian I might know. It sounds familiar, but I can't name a song off the top of my head. But when he said Macedon, I was like, oh, that's right, we should be friends.
Blind Guardian. Oh, Ben's in here. Ben, why don't you just join Discord, hop on VC, and let me give you a virtual kiss. They have a terrible Christmas album.
Well, it's sold.
I was gonna say it still made money,
dude.
Right?
I want to make a Christmas album so bad.
Dude, once we find like a whole bunch of people to make a ska band.
My Christmas ska record.
Yeah. It's Christmas.
All I want for Christmas is a kickflip and mozzarella sticks.
Oh man.
Is Ben in the Mouth Breathers Discord? Let me make sure he has an invite.
All right, let me see. Send it.
The invite expired. That's my bad. I try to always update the link to be like lasting forever.
See, now we can tell Ben we plan on being in town on Saturday. Now he'll know. Now that I don't feel like death warmed over and, you know, all that good stuff. Oh, man.
Sorry, Holden just sent me the trailer to Death Stranding 2. He said Death Stranding 2 looks like a certified prostate exploder. Oh my god. I haven't watched the Sony State of Play yet, but I really want to, just because I know there's a Death Stranding 2 trailer in there.
I'm ready for that. So ready. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh damn, I was looking at the Nate's painting again in the Discord. This shit is so cool. The Goblin Priest.
Oh yeah. He's been getting into it, man. Been getting into that kind of stuff. Hopefully he does something for the anthology.
No, he better do something for the anthology. There's no hope. Like, gotta hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, I told him maybe he could do some like the interior like of the cover. Like we could just have like a western like or a cowboy goblin.
That would be rad.
Yeah. Which that would honestly fit our story a little bit.
God, this page. where he cuts off the arm and then it grows back. Is this just like terrifying muscled tendons?
Oh yeah,
that's rad.
The corpse.
That is so cool.
You think that's a nod to Akira? You know,
could be
the way that.
Yeah. I was wondering the same.
Do I need to give Ben a permission to?
It's gonna get real confusing with two Bens on here.
Do I need to give Ben Lizzie a specific invite or permission to be in this?
No, you should just be able to join.
That's right, because Nate was able to just join in. Yeah. I didn't do anything for him. Let's see if he figures it out. Just
click on that MBG Studio Live channel.
I do have one thing to call out when we finally get Ben on here.
Okay.
Boo. That's right. Picks up the head.
So it's right after the transformation when he like finally eats Agatha's head and gets like all her cool black magic. There's a 1-page splash like just after that. I think it's the next page, Kat.
Oh yeah, that page rips.
Oh, it's so awesome. I love all the lightning coming down to like give you some of that white space to show like the transformation and how awesome it is. But the monster is freaking ripped. Like the monster has a 6-pack, which I absolutely love.
Oh, it's like a 12-pack. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's so good.
I also like that the heads look like sock puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really do.
And they have these like big dumb eyes. Like that just look crazy in the next panel. Ben, are you having trouble? Did you figure out how to get in here, bud?
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, Ben. So many things I have access to as a Discord mod that I don't know what I can actually do.
It's okay.
It's okay. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, how can you tell me this doesn't look like a sock puppet right here? Especially right here. What's that about? What's that guy doing?
And it just looks so awesome.
It's so beefy.
I love the like almost monkey mouth that he's got going on here. And he's just wiping everything out. Like the stakes have never been higher. Oh, this 2-pager is so sick.
Yeah.
Just rips a whole tree and its roots out of the ground. This is so cool.
It's like you feel the scale. You feel small. Puny.
And he just dives straight into the mouth like that. And then the animation of lopping off this middle head here is so good. It's like, whew. Sweep. One thing I love that he does, I have to find a good panel where he does it. But he does this thing where he like when he animates over page turns, he like extends the panels on the top and bottom to almost like seamlessly connect as if you were vertically scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's such a cool device. I gotta find a good example of him doing it. But it made me stop just because it like gave that like forward motion even though you're reading like vertical and flipping pages. Maybe he was doing it with the rock lizards. It's somewhere. Oh, these ghosts. We'll just stop and look at these ghosts right quick. They're just rad.
Oh, dude, the ghosts in the cemetery. Like I said, I get total Mignola vibes, but so cool.
Oh yeah.
And the part I don't understand, but I totally go with, is of course this is like the one thing Norgal, he just has no ability to defeat magic.
He just hates magic.
Oh yeah. But like the zombie giants, just grab the ghosts and just totally eat them. Just scarf them down.
The rock lizard head on a spike is such a goofy detail. And like juxtaposing it right next to Agatha's head on the sword is just a good image. Beautiful. What is that? It's a warning. Damn it. Where are those panels I'm talking about? They look so cool and I want to find them.
The ghosts, keep going. Keep going.
Not the ghosts, but the vertical kind of animation panels that he does.
Oh, that
it's just, I want to find it because I thought it was so interesting and I'd never seen it before. Maybe he does it with the giant fight. It's entirely possible.
Vertical animation. Yeah, there's a 2-page spread.
Well, there's like, I'm specifically talking about like where on the right-hand page, he'll do this thing where he like lets the panel go all the way to the edge of the paper. And then when you flip it, the vertical panels on the next page go all the way up to the top edge of the paper. Like there's no like, neat panel. There's no bleed essentially. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He runs the panels straight into each other in like a really interesting way. God damn it. I feel so dumb. This is where I should like...
Threw that second beer back, and now it's just...
It's Imperial.
All over now.
It's my third beer.
It's all over. Oh, third beer.
This is my second beer on stream.
This is my second beer.
First beer was just to take away the stress of the day.
Now it's party time.
Man,
first beer was just like to hydrate. That wasn't even... That doesn't even count.
What was that, Ben?
Are you finding these vertical panels? I'm flipping through here. I got nothing.
I'm not seeing full bleed panels. No.
Dude, I'm telling you, it exists. I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't go. It was specifically because I was reading it the other night, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, I've never seen that." Where are you, you bastard?
I mean, there is a page of like 3 full vertical panels, but they don't.
Those are also cool.
They're very cool.
Are we just giving up on Ben Lizzie getting in here?
I don't think so.
Does anyone check the chat?
Gave up. He's not online anymore. He's gone.
Damn.
He was like, I hate Discord. These guys suck. They're lame.
I'm not a mod. I don't want to be a mod either, so don't make me. But
I will ban him. No.
yeah.
I'm a Discord mod, so please don't fuck with me. I found it. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Because
how far back at the end of the book are we?
No, this is towards the beginning. This is like the second chapter. Okay. So what I found interesting was one, I mean, great, just oblique panel shapes, but then he does this like dot here, and I saw that and I was like, what's that doing? And it kind of trails off the bottom of the page, and when you hit the page turn, it actually finishes off the bottom of that animation, and then he runs these also into the bottom to kind of run that into here.
The wolves.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool way to kind of like create that sense of motion and animation and like a natural curiosity, because you're like looking at it and you're like, what's that? That was like literally my thought, was like, why this in the panel break? It's so weird, but it like is to almost cue that there's a continuity to the motion.
Well, see, that's why I think that's cool, but I also love his simplicity. Like there's the 2-page spread of the wolf fight, where like you just get this ongoing action sequence of Norgal running and like taking out 3 different wolves, but it's stacked one on top of another.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite sequences where you see him run through it.
Yeah.
slides under, jumps over the other one, cuts its head off, and then as he's sliding down the fucking tail, he throws the other sword at the other one.
And just right in the forehead. So cool.
Yeah, the decision to just leave that all white too, or off white, really, really smart.
Yeah, we're just focusing on the movement in this. That's it. And it's so good. That would be a cool poster.
Oh, dude. It would be. His character poster, I know he was selling that for a while.
He does those at the end of every volume.
Dude, it's so awesome. I absolutely love
classy it. Classy touch. This.
So cool.
I wonder if that's where Daniel Warren Johnson got that idea, because he does that with his.
Yeah, who's the first to do the character portrait? Like the collection of all the characters. I like this too because it gives a sense of scale to everything that you might not have always like immediately understood.
Yeah.
But I also hate that it rips me off in the middle there.
Because I would have thought like the rock lizards were a little bit smaller, but like, they give even more scale with them being like the third biggest creature.
I just noticed he's got the ghost in his hands.
The ghost sword stuck all over his back and shoulders.
Well, it's also like the king, he seems so big in his panels, but he's just guy-sized.
Just a dude.
Just normal man. Yeah, great back matter as we were talking about earlier. I don't know. I think all we're doing right now is kind of just flipping through. Oh yeah, we'll just highlight this entire sequence. It's kind of your epilogue when he goes back to meet Zania Kotaka. I just love how vibrant and crazy, by like juxtaposing it with these like just dark dungeon atmospheres and then just like crazy psychedelic frog things.
Oh yeah,
they're just like tripping out. I loved the colors throughout this whole thing.
She uses some of the dust, man.
Yeah, that magical pixie dust, the angel dust. Don't smoke that dust, kids.
Yeah.
The frog. I love the sticky frog pad fingertips.
Yeah.
And just a great detail.
The way Andrew draws hands is great. Like when it's like a weird like monster guy and he's got like those bony hands or whatever. It's very Mike Mignola-esque to do.
Even Headlopper's hands. Look at those meat patty hands. Those hamburger hands. It's so beefy. I also love, we were talking about this earlier. It was just the shape of the head and the beard, and he just does the V.
Yeah.
To give the mustache. That's the only like detail there. Yeah. Just really smart use of silhouettes and shapes. Minimal colors back here. It's just great. Everything's so damn good. This book is just fun. It's like almost like I have less to say about this book, but it's truly just like it just does it, and I just like it. Like that's like my takeaway from this book. It's really not trying to like make some grand statement. It's just trying to be like pure pulp fantasy fun, and it's just like delivers on all accounts. Doesn't take itself too seriously. Doesn't try to pack you with dense information and themes and messaging. It's just fun, and it just rocks. And that is a welcome reprieve to things like the Marvel style of like trying to like parse out old Stan Lee comics is like such a nightmare, or like 80s Marvel with like Walt Simonson. Like I love Walt Simonson, but holy crap, that is like reading a novel every time you want to read a comic book. There's so much text on those pages, dude. It's obnoxious.
I mean, he loves that Nordic stuff, man. He leans into it.
He does. But I like this. I like where there's whole pages where there's almost no dialogue. We're just like, grr, yeah. That's my kind of dialogue.
Yeah. There's no thoughts.
Oh, what up, Noah? Yeah, this artwork is gorgeous. I highly recommend reading this book. If you haven't, it's called Headlopper. It's by Andrew Maclean. Colors by Mike Spicer. And I think Andrew actually does his own coloring on some of the issues. Yeah, chapter 3 colored. And
Something like that.
I can't read the credits because he did this awesome signature over it.
Oh yeah, the Agatha sketch.
Yeah, which is rad. But let's go back to that splash of the Chimera. Yeah. God, I love this page. Oh, it's so cool.
You're cool.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Ben?
What's up?
Oh, Ben's actually in here. We thought you died.
Dude, it wouldn't let me join for like 10 minutes.
Oh, because you had like just joined the server?
Yeah.
I gotta change that setting. I don't know
How rude.
Discord works.
You fucking blocked me. Dude, I can't ever figure out Discord. I don't know why. I never use it. It makes me feel like a fucking old person.
Well, welcome to the club. So.
No, you're not. No. Wait.
We got jackets.
You're not an old person, Ben.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to. We'll talk about that later.
Oh God.
You're not old. You just have kids. It's different.
That's totally different.
It makes you age a lot faster.
Young people have kids too, Ben. Do you ever think about the child brides?
No, I try not to. That's something I'm actively trying to avoid with children. I don't need those.
Ben, how you doing, bud?
So yeah, Ben, we're talking about Headlopper. Is there anything that you're like, Headlopper is amazing. It's phenomenal.
So you guys have probably already talked. I would say, so I met Andrew Maclean before I read Headlopper.
Same.
It was Free Comic Book Day 2019.
No way.
And at Acme, and we used to bring like a pretty high caliber group of people. It's actually kind of absurd when I think about it now, but so like
now he just has us show up, Manny.
Yeah.
No, Manny's gonna agree with what I have to say. I know he is. So we would fly in artists and set up tents, and like they did it for years. I'm actually the one who called off the program. Did it for years. Flew people out from wherever, like whoever the store could get, and they would do like sketches. They would do free sketches for like Free Comic Book Day attendees. But like we'd fly them, we'd put them up, the store would buy their meals, and it was my first Free Comic Book Day like officially working there. And it was Andrew Maclean, Alexis Zarit, Vanessa Del Rey.
What?
Stephen Green.
Oh my God.
What?
Whoa, dang.
And shoot, I can't remember his name. He has the Ink Pulp podcast.
Sounds like you spent a lot of money on those people though to get them there.
Dude. So I'm gonna say it was a bad idea, but I didn't own the business then, so it was good. It was good for me because I got to hang out with all of them, and it was great. Yeah. But I actually called it all off mainly because I was like, "Yo, no matter if you're getting a free meal and like a trip, like just drawing all day for people in line at Free Comic Book Day, like this is your career. Like I feel like that's got to kind of suck." I mean, everybody did it willingly, but I was like, everyone should have been paid, whatever. You wouldn't go to like a convention and be like, "Andrew, draw me this," and be like, "Cool, thanks, see ya." You know, there's a monetary exchange. But he was the nicest guy and the coolest guy.
Yep.
Just so rad. And then I was like, I gotta read this thing. And Headlopper's so cool because I feel like when you pick it up, you're like, oh, this is like a great like art book. Like the art is fantastic. But once you get maybe like the first issue into the story, you realize that you've got a really well thought out story, drawing obviously a lot from like Mignola, like Hellboy, like how he tells Hellboy, and I would say even Concrete a bit, because you have this kind of like hulking, not quippy, because he's pretty like solemn, but you know, when he says something, it's usually like has a point. And it's just such a strong book. I wish there was more than just the 2 volumes.
There's 4 volumes, Ben.
There's 4 volumes.
You own the comic book store.
Kevin and I will educate you when we come visit this weekend.
So that means I've read 2 of them.
Oh, dude, and the third and fourth one are amazing too. Oh, you're in for such a treat when you do get your hands on them. No, that's basically what happened when he was at Heroes Con in 2022. I guess that was where we ran into you there too. Where he just had like a stack of books, and I was like, I'll buy one of everything, and so I bought Apocalyptic Girl and his like most of his Headlopper volumes, and just shot the shit.
I've never read Apocalyptic Girl.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the I'm gonna mispronounce it. I actually can't think his like kaiju book.
Oh, Snarlagon.
Snarlagon.
Yep, I threw down. I kickstarted it. It's so good.
Oh, it's on Kickstarter?
Yeah. It was like right after Heroes Con this year, Manny. We were poor as church mice. Like it was not a good time for us.
Yeah. So I didn't read that, but I love Godzilla War for Humanity. I think it's probably the best Godzilla comics have like been. And they are of outside of the Stoko stuff that's unbeatable content there.
Yeah.
But
it's so good.
And also like he's a part of that group of artists where you realize that they understand the future of the medium, and he is definitely one of those people. By like him like making friends with Jake Smith and bringing Jake Smith and giving Jake Smith his first like big name like work, I think that's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah,
big time.
Because Jake Smith is like, you know, not to take the focus off of Andrew Maclean, but Jake Smith is going to be like, he'll be Daniel Warren Johnson levels of notoriety soon.
Yeah,
I hope so. I mean, like he was so cool to hang out with like this year at Heroes Con, but like there was not that many people at his table, unfortunately, and I was just like, dude, why aren't you selling like out of all of your stuff right now? I don't get it.
Yeah, he had like sent the store like a copy of like Blood Force Trauma when he was still self-publishing it. And then the one year I went to New York Comic Con, like I was like, I'm gonna meet this guy. And same thing, not a lot of people coming by his table, and commissions were like, I think $40.
Oh my god!
And I was like, dude, we're doing it. I'm getting something from you. So.
Oh yeah, no, because Manny put me on to Blood Force Trauma, and he had the single issues. I just went straight to his table. I was like, give me them all. I want them all right now. He was like, well, you know, the trade's coming out in like a month, and you can just get that from Dark World. I was like, give me them all right now. I'm buying everything that's on your table this moment.
That was funny. Yeah, he's a nice dude.
Super nice kid. Like that guy. He's also an Anaheim Ducks fan. We talked hockey for a while. That was nice. Yeah, Ben.
You mean the Mighty Ducks?
Well, they're not the Mighty Ducks anymore. Not since Disney relinquished ownership of the team.
They're always the Mighty Ducks.
The biggest mistake they ever made was abandoning that dope ass color scheme with like the purple and the teal. Like, oh, so good.
That was a great color. Great color scheme.
And they're like doo-doo orange, and it's just hideous.
Oh, look at that.
But yeah, Headlopper. I mean, yeah, Ben, we've like done a few of these now. We did Murder Falcon, we did Ultra Mega last week. We're doing Headlopper this week.
Oh,
we just kind of ramble.
I hate I missed the Headlopper one. I mean, I'm on the Headlopper one. I hate I missed the Ultra Mega one.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do another one because he has to finish it. Like he has to finish it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we sold 2 copies of Ultra Mega today, and it's one of those things where you're just like, it looks badass, and people are like, cool. Yeah. I'll buy it.
Sold.
I like, and the thing,
Headlopper's the same thing too. You can be like, it's pretty badass, and they're like, all right, sounds good, I like it.
Yeah. My pitch, I was saying this earlier, my pitch for selling Headlopper is basically that it's like Adventure Time meets Berserk. Like, it's just sick. It just reminds me, we were like,
absolutely,
we talked a lot about how it like reminded us of Tartakovsky's like animations, like Samurai Jack and Primal and stuff like that. Like, get heavy vibes of that. There really is just like
Zach saying I'm a riot.
Yeah.
In the comments of the thing.
Brock the dealer.
Brock.
Oh.
Wait, who? Brock is one of y'all's friends, right?
Yeah.
Brock hung out with me on my stream a couple weeks back, so he has his own stream as well, where he shows off all the books that he picks up. Definitely should check that out.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I feel like the pull list is a really good name for a like stream or podcast. If you're talking about comics, I'm sure someone's already taken the name. But
I mean, it could be a great one for comic books, or for XXX medium as well.
That's right. I mean, if Twitch would just relax their rules a little bit, we would turn this stream into just going into old Hustler magazines. I just want to read, my dear Playboy
articles.
Letters. Yeah, I read them for the articles.
Well, dude, you can do that with Penthouse Comics very soon.
Hey.
Wait, Penthouse is doing comics?
Yeah, that's why they couldn't pay Manny.
Wait, I thought that was. Well,
we should probably...
Wait, will we get into legal trouble if we talk about this on stream?
Yeah, probably.
We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Okay, that's fine. I'll ask about this later. It's also my stream. I could stop streaming at any time. So, or we can talk about that this weekend if I do end up going to Acme.
So, he's even got like the page that you're on. If I'm like watching behind, those like seconds. Yeah, those Mignola like freeze frames where you do the close up. I was like thinking about the school that certain artists come from. Like Ramon Villalobos is definitely like the Frank Quitely school of art, and Andrew Maclean is for sure that like Mike Mignola school of like comic art, where like you find your guy, you kind of like build your thing after the guy, and then you find your voice, so you have this cool almost like your own thing but derivative enough without like copying like one of the greats, which makes like just kind of like elevates the artwork.
Well, it like immediately hooks you in because you go, oh, I know that, I like that because that reminds me of. And then in this case it's Mike. We talked about with both Ultra Mega and Murder Falcon, just like, well, obviously Ultra Mega because it's made by James Herron, but just like that James Herron is all over Daniel Warren Johnson's work. Like James Herron's all over so many artists' work, like Aaron Conley and others, where it's just like, and apparently James Herron hates that like he's inspired so many people and he hates people who bites his style and stuff, which is just like really funny because he's like so influential. Like,
I don't know. I listened to one Felix interview though with James Herron, and he was like, I mean, people are gonna draw the way they want to draw, so it's cool, I think Felix was more the strong-headed one, like, how dare people rip you off? And he was like, I mean,
that was coming from their mouths. All the other Felix guys like directly. That's like why I thought that was funny.
I mean, who knows?
I mean, yeah, Daniel even, I don't know. I think he's talked about it on podcasts, but like reading the James Herron like arc of BPRD is like what made him want to draw comics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, did that.
No, yeah,
for sure. I remember him saying in a podcast, it was like, if not for James Harren, I probably wouldn't be doing comics right now.
Yeah.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. So he's a big deal.
I mean,
Kevin, is that how your beard's gonna get? Is that your goal?
Oh, honestly, no. I get it. You gotta stick it out and really shape to get to this point. I get to it. My beard gets long because I have depression, and then I don't shave for like 2 months, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I go, "Where's my face?" And then I trim it back down.
That's cool. That's cool that you guys can grow beards. Really cool. Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
Pretty rad. Currently covering up my like old man double chin, so that's why I have it. It gives my jawline definition. Because I would just look like a beluga whale if I didn't have a beard. It'd just be like pasty. My face is like Q-tip shaped. Except I'm beet red, like a boiled cabbage.
All right.
I don't have anything.
I think you're handsome, Kevin.
You're such a handsome boy.
You're such a handsome boy.
Appreciate it, fellas. Yeah, this book is
Andrew
so
Maclean also I love like designer toys and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he's I've never bought one of his figures, but I wish I.
We were talking about this figure. Ben, have you ever seen this one in real life? The actual Norgal? Like, I don't know if this actually exists. Like, or if this was just like a tease. Because this would be sick.
He might. So he does. Shoot, what's his that laser attack wolf page that he runs? Like, his merch, and I'm trying to remember the little tiger character that he has. He might have run it through there. I know Image did stuffed like the witch head.
Agatha.
Agatha, that's it. It's been so long. They did those for a while.
Well, damn.
There are two plush things that I was like, I know I'm a huge fan and I am a nerd enough to like actually go purchase these, and I didn't, and I kicked myself for them. Agatha is one of those. And they also did like a plush lion cat from Saga, and I kicked myself for not buying that as well. So I'd have a lot more weird stuffed animals if I didn't have children or a conscience. I don't know.
Guys, how good is Saga actually? Because I've never read it, and it's a beast now. It's so much.
Amazing.
It's not that much. So the thing that's weird about Saga is you can read all 11 volumes of Saga in like a weekend.
It's 11 volumes.
But the thing about Saga, so I reread Saga a while ago just to like be like, is this good? And it's interesting, and it is. It's interesting. It's weird because a lot of people who hate comics read and buy Saga.
What?
And like a lot. And like I think one of the things is just the way the panels are laid out and that the dialogue is paced out. I don't mean this derogatory, but it makes sense. It reads like not in like a creator way, but like a reader way, like my first comic. It's just like so digestible, and like the page, like the way it's scripted, you like know like every couple pages you're gonna get the hook, so you don't have to like think too hard about it. It's really interesting.
Huh.
Well, I do like that about Brian K. Vaughan. His books tend to be like that. Like Pride of Baghdad was very much like that.
Yeah. You're like, oh, this is an easy read, but like then you're like, oh, that was awesome.
I also think, and Ben, you may know better than me. I'm trying to remember when they first started publishing Saga, because it's been quite a while ago. Because they took like a 2-year break too.
I think it started 2012.
2012. That was one of the first ones that I remember outside of like the how am I gonna lose like all the Britpop stuff? It didn't feel Britpop. It was like very Americanized, with his writing and the style, but it was all plain English. Like they didn't try to be flowery, and it was like there's legit. Hey, we're just gonna let dongs and tits and stuff just hang out in the book.
Lots of dong.
That's in Saga?
Lots of dong.
We got dongs in Saga?
Yeah.
It's chock full of fucking and sucking.
Oh,
yes.
Sold. Sold. I love me some full-on dong. That is what I need in a comic. That's why I really liked Brubaker's last book, Where the Body Was.
Because there's
you got some dong.
Oh, there was a lot of dong in that one. That's just a romance book. Mm-hmm. That's not a like typical Brubaker crime book. That is just a romance book.
See, that's I don't know where it started, but I feel like Saga was one of the first ones that I read that was like that. And then I ran into like Tokyo Ghost, which had a lot of that. That's Sean Gordon Murphy. Well, Black Science. Although I don't feel like Black Science there's as much like just straight out. He's a little bit more overt, or not as overt with it. But yeah, Saga was the first one where I'm like, oh crap, like this is something that has to be nowhere near where the kids can get a hold of this right now.
I love a good little bit of smut.
Keep it far away from Jonah and the Impossible Monsters and all the Wizard of Oz, Scotty Young stuff. Like, don't want the kids picking this up.
You know who does good smut is that guy. How do you pronounce his name? Stepan Sajic or whatever, who did the Harley Quinn Black Label book. Oh, dude, it's like deviant art level smut. It's a lot of fun. Dude, the Sunstone books. This is just like BDSM books. It's great.
Someone in the chat will call me out for slandering the product that I sell, but Stefan, I fucking hate that shit. I fucking hate that shit. You're right. It's like, dude. So it's like equivalent to like how like I've mentioned this on the Acme podcast about how like Ben, once again, I'm also basically in my middle age, so I'm going to say old people, so I'm not directing it at you.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But like how like old men think like clowns are like the most badass fucking thing of all world. Like it is like weird losers being like, yeah, this is like classy, horny art, and it is just deviant art style.
Deviant art has done a lot for the smut community. Okay. Dude, this is an aside, but I finally got access to Blue Sky, the like social media that's like replacing Twitter or whatever.
Oh, same.
And I was like, I'll check this out and see if this is actually better than Twitter. And they're like, you can subscribe to these feeds, and like here are all these different feeds you can subscribe to, and like there's three unique furry feeds. And of course I'm going to click on it.
Yes to all, right?
Yeah, of course I'm going to click on it because it's really funny. I love Rule 34 and just like weird deviant art stuff because it's so inappropriate and out of pocket. Like, who is getting off to this and why? Like, it is so disturbing, but I can't look away. I love it.
I can't look away.
Because someone drew it. That's the thing. With AI, it'll change a little bit, but someone used to take the time to draw Lois Griffin with like her whole, like her lips on display. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like Shaggy and Scooby, like Throat and Velma and Daphne. It was like so weird, dude. The amount of futa and gender swapping, genital swapping, just wild business, dude. DeviantArt, it's out of pocket.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
What are we talking about? Headlopper, guys. Read Headlopper. This book rips.
This took quite the turn.
I don't know. It gets so unstructured. It was also because I was kind of nervous because like we shot ourselves in the foot early because our Murder Falcon stream was like 3 hours long and we did not stop talking about Murder Falcon the entire time. And I was not ready to do that with this stream. I was like, I do not have 3 hours worth of things to say about this book. I love this book, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, it operates so differently.
It's just like bare bones in like the best way. Like there's not that much to read in between the lines about on this book. Like it truly is just like simple and fun. And there's like enough depth for you to want to read more and like keep turning the page throughout the story. But it's not so much where you're like, I have fan theories and analyses and like all of these things I want to dig into. And like this book is profound for X, Y, or Z reason. It's just good. It's just fun.
I mean, to me, it's like watching Saturday morning cartoons. I'm not going to like turn on Saturday morning cartoons and sit and pore over every episode and be like, oh my God, can you imagine all the through lines? But like this has the same fun, the same energy. And what I do have to say, and what we've covered in the stream very well, like each character has plenty of story. Like everybody has their own unique story, and he doesn't sit there and do it heavy-handedly, but he takes the time, and everyone gets a nice little close, like beginning and end loop to it, which I think is fantastic.
Buttoned up.
Yeah.
Which is harder to do than most people would realize. Especially with the amount of threads he has going with like the servant Luluk and the king's son and the blacksmith and Kotaka and all those little threads that kind of just get peppered throughout and get their resolutions by the end is just like really nice. And even the small ones like the stupid corrupt priest who gets killed for being too greedy, and like even the boatman, like that ends pretty open-ended, but like that like afterlife boatman with the ghost river thing is like everything gets that little punch. Real nice. God, I love this panel. These eyes, more Mike Mignola there for you. Just those little beady white dot eyes. See if I can get close up in there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna zoom in on the bottom right panel, more deep.
yeah. I wanna, because you know what gets me going? Pregnancy. That's my thing.
Hey, everybody has their kink, right?
That is look. I'm no kink shaming on this podcast. Live stream, whatever we want to call this. It gets uploaded to YouTube.
Oh man.
I was gonna say, Kev, you hit it on the head. Yeah, and we've got 2 writers and 2 artists on here now. So Ben, I can't imagine like how you and Kev keep all the details straight in what you guys are writing. And thank God that you can, because there are times where I can't remember what I had for breakfast. So it definitely takes a certain individual to be able to write something and keep all these things, in check and in your head at all times. So.
You know how you keep track of these things? You write them down.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I just draw pretty characters. That's all.
I draw a picture. Look.
I draw. Yeah, look me. I do good.
Grandma, look.
Yeah, but I don't like. And Ben, I don't know if you encounter this too when you're writing stuff and then someone's drawing it for you. But like by the time they're drawing it, like it's been so long since you wrote it, that you start getting pages in and you're like, holy shit, I wrote that? That's awesome. Like, you just like can't believe it. You're like, oh dude, this is sick.
Yeah, it's every single time.
Oh, you're far away from your mic, man.
What happened? What are you pooping over there? Did you put the phone down?
Taking a shower? What are you doing?
Are you chopping carrots?
How's that?
That's
there you
better.
go.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Yeah, every single time. Especially like, so honestly, until very recently, I've never worked with anyone I've known, nor have I worked with like someone who speaks English. So
Like That's right, because you're the Italian guy for Children of the Grave, right?
I had two Italians.
Dang, that's crazy.
It's okay. You don't need to speak Italian. You just need to speak with your hands.
Right. Look at you getting around. I had two Italians.
I got two.
I got two.
Do it.
Yeah. So then, like, just like that interpretation of your words, and you're like, oh, like, there's been times when someone's like, there was some sort of either translation or cultural difference. They're like, didn't get it, but you're just like, that's way better. You had a much better idea. That's cool. Let's go with that one. Like,
did the Italians also letter your books too?
No. Justin Birch, Eisner nominated letterer Justin Birch has lettered most stuff, but he's just a guy that we know.
just some dude.
Is he local or just came to Acme and you kind of met him that way?
No, he lettered Sam's first comic, and they just like met at a convention.
What?
Yeah, and then he's just like, I at least have like a rough understanding how comics are drawn, and I have I would say a grasp on how to write them, but like lettering is such a weird thing.
Oh yeah.
And I do not understand it. And if I try to do it, I would fucking butcher it. I would ruin the book.
Yeah.
And especially with like, did Andrew is this stuff hand lettered?
Yeah.
Like Daniel stuff is.
Yeah, the first volume I'm pretty sure is hand lettered. I think he started doing digital lettering on like the third or fourth volume or something.
That's the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yep. Looks great.
One thing, I think it was like either Brubaker or Bendis, because they used to do like everything on their books like way back in the day. Like they described like the value of actually like lettering your own books and like understanding how that works.
I'm sure.
And just like making you just like an infinitely better writer, which I believe.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like
you have to simplify stuff.
Yeah, Bendis probably could have benefited from continuing to letter his own books because they definitely fell off the deep end for a while. But
no, dude, we're gonna stretch it. We're gonna stretch it over 2 pages, and like a bubble line is going to run across the page, and then the next page is going to be laid out completely differently, and you're just gonna like know what order the panels are in.
No, his like early stuff was like such a mess. Like that book Fire is like, well, it is fire. I love that book, but like the lettering is unintelligible and in the best way.
Hell yeah.
He does these like things where he like letters like in this like shape across the page where it's just like up and down, left to right, just like gnarly, or just like oblong from like diagonal to diagonal across the page, and it's just weird, but it works so well. But yeah, these ghosts, dude.
I know.
The beard punch. I love. And yeah,
the graveyard is fantastic.
The 12 panels. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, you got some love for Acme Cast in the comments.
I saw.
How frequently do you do the Acme Cast?
How frequently? Once a week.
How's that been going?
Oh, you should listen. What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you asking?
Oh, I was just. Yeah, man, put me on the spot.
I'm working it. I was gonna send another email to Ben with more questions after this past week's episode, and I've been.
Oh, you take question submissions?
Yeah, we take listener questions.
Hell yeah!
Oh, that's great.
So for those of you that are listening to this, if you have questions for the Acme crew, how do they get those in?
Oh, the Acme Cast is available on all podcast platforms. Just search the Acme Cast, and you can send listener questions to ben@acmecomics.com.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
I like that.
Let's go.
When's the next one?
Friday.
Right.
Do you edit the audio yourself too?
It's a very loose editing where I will edit out like if I say something bad.
But if Austin or Jermaine say something, you're just like, oh
no. Jermaine's pretty much on the thing. I have spoken ill of publishers who we have to have a relationship with, and I've spoken ill of certain comic book creators that think it's a good idea to do 0.5 issues.
Elaborate on that.
You don't like
elaborate? No, fucking Kyle Higgins, fucking making everyone's life a goddamn nightmare.
Oh, I didn't mean elaborate on names. I just meant like a 0.5 issue. I'll try to edit this, but I mean, no one's going to see this or listen to this. Plus, if you're like wondering who's on the podcast right now, it's just a bunch of guys named Steve from Delaware. This has no connection to anything else.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm from Delaware.
I'm from Delaware.
I also, this guy's okay. We can talk. I've said so many bad things about Donnie Cates. And,
last time we hung out, you said a bunch of bad things about Donnie Cates.
You're definitely not allowed to come on the crossover. When I convince these guys to do the crossover review, I have so many nice things to say about Jeff Shaw, but I have nothing nice to say.
Well,
about
this
Donnie
is something
Cates.
we haven't even considered, is talking about a comic that we don't like on this stream. Which I don't think I
like
own any,
Fest.
But
yeah.
We'll do.
If I don't like it, I'd drop it.
Yeah.
We'll do that. That Harleen book.
I do own issue number 1 of that Black Label series, so I can at least comment on issue 1.
Dude, if we're talking about hanging dong, I will try and find my copies of Batman Damned.
Oh yeah, I've got all.
Oh, I have the hardcover of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but your hardcover's doesn't have the dick in it.
What?
What issue?
They
is
edited
that
it out. It's issue 1.
I did not know
issue
that.
1. I guess I gotta.
See, this is how I get
1.
punished for waiting for the trade. I see.
That's right.
Yeah.
Miss out on the dawn,
you don't get to see Batman's dick.
If you're in the chat right now, drop recommendations for comics with dong. That's what I want. I want to see that.
Dude, if you want to see old man dong, like again, Tokyo Ghost. I don't know why
there's some good dong in Tokyo Ghost for sure.
Oh my gosh!
I don't.
Talking about like.
You know what has good dong? Not a comic book, but me and Manny binge watched it over the weekend. Is Blue Eyes Samurai on Netflix? There's a lot of dong.
Oh my gosh!
Quality dong.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Love it. So funny.
Once again, I'm glad that I try to be a responsible parent, because I was like, ooh, Blue Eyed Samurai. That sounds like something cool. My oldest may be into this. I'm like, well, I'll watch the first couple episodes, and I'm like, holy crap! Like full on, yeah. Tits and sex and dongs, and I'm like, well, never mind. Can't show that to my
Your
oldest.
kids got to learn about dong eventually, Ben. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, they can learn about it when I'm not sitting right next to them.
No, you have to make eye contact to know that they're getting the messaging.
Do you understand? I don't think your kids should hang out with
Kev.
This is a true story. I was a youth counselor for years. 10 years.
I was like, you guys ever heard of this movie called Le Bleu? We're gonna put it on.
No.
Le Bleu?
Yeah, that's like the. It was like a thing. Like I remember being on the internet when I was in high school, and then like Ed Piskor like posted about it recently. And it's basically like it's not basically, it's live action hentai.
What?
Like with tentacles?
Like, yeah, and I'm like, why I was like, I don't know. I was like, Ed Piskor, you gotta stop, man.
You gotta stop.
I mean, yeah, his books are. I mean, Red Room is crazy. It's just depraved for the sake of being depraved.
Yeah. Yep. Have it right there.
Oh man, Funky wants to hear more hot takes. He wants to hear everybody's hot takes.
So, hot take. A couple years ago, wait, who made the Star Wars 6th movie? Not the 6th movie, 7th movie.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams and his son were writing a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
Henry Abrams, and it was not good. It was terrible.
I bought every issue.
Spider-Man being bad? What?
That's about Spider-Man.
Impossible. That's never happened before.
Dude, we would disagree. I like current Spider-Man. I like Zeb Wells Spider-Man.
You like Zeb Wells?
Dude, I think it's really good.
I mean, I need to read his newer stuff, I guess, but man, I hated his like run like during the Brand New Day stuff. His issues were always the worst to me.
I mean, that whole era was like very hit or miss, but I think some of the mistake was just like having different people like cover issues, and it was like, this book doesn't need to come out 3 times a month just to like have Spider-Man come out 3 times a month.
That I agree with.
It was not good.
I don't know that any book needs to come out more than once a month. Like I can't handle 2 or 3.
Yeah. You want to talk hot takes? There's too many damn comic books coming out, honestly. Like, and I mean this in the most loving way, but like DC and Marvel have to calm the hell down. There's way too many. There's like
just do Black Label. That's it.
Dude, there's like, isn't there like 6 or 7 ongoing Batman titles right now? Like,
how many Wolverines? How many Spider-Mans?
I can't do it, man.
And then when you like go into like Marvel Unlimited, the amount of books that are just coming out, you're like, who's reading this? Who is this for? There's like hundreds of books a month. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I just stick with Image, man.
Continue making money.
They go, Funky. There's our cumulative hot take. Like DC and Marvel need to slow their roll. Like, I love all the independent stuff, and I really love the fact that it feels like independents are getting more of a shine. But it's also because there's so many like great stories that people are finally able to tell, and I feel like there's a market for it. And I mean, Ben, you would know more than I would, but over half of my list, like I barely have any of the big 2 titles on my poll.
I mean, I barely have any of the big 2 on my bookshelf. I think my big 2. I think I have one. I have one shelf with big 2 stuff on it. One shelf out of the 4, 6, 7, 8. I have a few shelves, and I got one shelf.
I think a hot take. I'm big on people like. I guess it's contradictory to my chosen career. But I'm big on people reading comics, not just collecting them. And I would say the majority of people that get mostly independent stuff read their comics, while the aging collector that's like got 20, 30 like Marvel DC titles on their pull list, like even though some of that stuff's good, they're not reading it, and they're not actually interacting with the culture. It's just, buying just to buy.
It's so weird to me.
And something you guys were talking about on the Acme cast, I mean, you guys were definitely singing praises for the new Ultimate Spider-Man. But I mean, to be honest with you, like I'm so checked out of Marvel because like they had 4 or 5 Spider-Man books already, and then they add another, and I'm like, well, I wasn't reading the other 5.
But
like, why in the world would I?
But so you have to remember that the Ultimate Spider-Man is Jonathan Hickman. You know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn, dude.
Which can you guys? Can you snag me a copy when you go?
If they have any left, you guys sold out of that stuff, right? Like,
I got stream exclusive. I've got them hidden away.
All right.
Hell yeah.
You guys heard that. You heard that. So if you need it, all right, Ben, I'll be picking up an issue for Manny and myself this weekend.
I need an issue of that.
We'll be in a Kev and I are talking about coming in on Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah, dude, Jonathan Hickman. I like that a lot. Manny, I need to get my copies of Black Monday Murders back from you just because I want to reread them.
Okay.
I just love those books so much.
Did you guys get to meet Hickman at Heroes?
No.
Was he there the last time you were tabling there?
No, he was there 2022.
Oh.
No
you
way.
Guys, just came down. Yeah, he was we were at the hotel, at that bar there, and Riley was talking to Steven and Jonathan Hickman standing there, and he's like, I mean, most people I've met through comics are super nice except for fucking Donnie Cates. I
heard the same thing about Sean Murphy. I heard that he's a dick.
No, really?
Dude, every time I've met him, he's been super nice. He comes to the store sometimes because his wife has family around Greensboro.
No fucking way.
Damn.
God damn it, Ben.
No, a lot of the Felix guys did not have nice things to say about him, but I won't name names.
I think he's just kind of a stubborn dude, and I feel like if you get into it, he kind of enjoys being a little contradictory.
Mm.
And
yeah.
That is what it is. But yeah, then when you need people to cape up for you, they're not going to. But Hickman, because the way he writes, you're it's fucking dense.
Mm-hmm.
And then talking to him, I'm you're making shit and fart jokes right now. What are you?
Yo. Me and him would be boys. Let's go.
You're drunk here with the rest of us. You're just fucking one of the boys. Where I was I assumed you would be I don't know,
philosophical and shit, or
you'd be in a room and the Matrix code is just running down your face constantly.
Yeah, I feel like he just reads the encyclopedia for fun.
It's trying to read all the fucking words that mean shit and piss and stuff.
He actually wrote the Wikipedia entry for poop. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, he's working on PP, so
that's sick.
Since we have a couple of people on the chat, I am curious because I know we were trying to find what other books we would like to cover, but I'm curious of people in the chat, if they had recommendations on what they would want to hear us talk about. Not saying that we would, just I'm curious what recommendations.
I've got one for you, and I think I'll try and find you a copy. You guys ever read Faust?
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm familiar, but I have not read Faust.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It's got Dong.
It's a lot of talk.
The thing is I want to read Dong. I can't if I'm sitting here in the same format where I'm just flipping through pages. I can't have Dong on stream.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Love Everlasting is a really good call out. I love Tom King. I've been wanting to read that really bad.
Who publishes Love Everlasting?
It's not Image. It's one of the smaller ones.
I think it's Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Okay.
Or it is. I think it is Image.
Is it Image?
He's got some other Dark Horse stuff though. Yeah, it's Image.
Okay. Yeah, I want to read that. I forget who the artist is on that, but I really want to read that. But that.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
I'm a Tom King fanboy. It is Image.
Yeah, you were.
Dude, Human Target is so good. Oh my god. I got that shit and I read it twice in a row, just back to back. I finished it and I was like, damn! And then I just opened it back up and read it again.
Damn.
Craig Smallwood, that art. Sheesh.
Yeah.
That shit's tight.
Fucking great.
self-proclaimed sad man stares out window comics. That's my vibe. That's why I like Reckless so much, those Brubaker books. We are going to talk about Brubaker on stream. I just don't know which book.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to cover a Paul Pope book just from an artistic perspective. So I know last week after the stream ended, I said we should all do Battling Boy, because that was like his solo property that he did. But even if we did like Batman Year 100, like I'm totally down.
I'll be into that.
I do have that one. I also have 100%. Pope book.
I can't remember if I have the singles of Year 100, or I think I have like one of them, and just have never been able to find the others.
Yeah, I just got the volume.
You had a section off time to talk about how Paul Pope is fucking a sexy dude.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
He draws a lot of sexy things. Like if you just look at his regular posts, like.
But does he look sexy in real life?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking up a picture right now.
Is he like Trad Moore handsome? Like he's just got the long flowing locks, or is he?
Paul Pope. He looks like he was in a Britpop band. Like he looks like Damon Albarn.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Tradmore, he's the man. That's a cool dude.
Yeah, we have to do a Tradmore property. I still feel like we need to do a 3-part series on Luther Strode, just because that.
Yeah.
Each 3-part, like each part needs its own devoted stream.
I would also be down to talk about Silver Surfer Black or Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Oh my God! Talk about dense. Like that was one thing I was not expecting, because I was thinking it's Tradmore. He's going to do Doctor Strange. We're going to get like awesome, trippy magic and otherworldliness. But like those books are freaking packed full of dialogue. And like so many overarching themes. So good.
I'm going to drop it in the Discord art discussion, but Paul Pope is looking very submissive and breedable here. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in our own stream that we need to put up outside of just our regular comic book chat. We just need to have like best looking comic creators.
Yeah, we'll do a fuckable artist tier list.
We'll have to see if Chad agrees.
It's not necessarily fuckable, but I just like love thinking about Jim Steranko. He was at Heroes last year, and he was just like walking around in his like snakeskin pants and like Gucci boots and like giant sunglasses. He was looking like Baby Billy from the Righteous Gemstones. Like it was so funny. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I didn't even realize it was Jim Steranko, but I was like, I took one look at him and I was like, yeah, that's an old head Marvel dude, like 100%. Yeah. And then he sat at his table with the Jim Steranko banner. I was like, yep, that's what it was. Got it.
When you said that, that popped in my head, like a picture of him popped in my head, and I was like, it can't be him. And then turns out it was it was that Heroes Con.
That's the thing with fucking Heroes Con, is that I follow so many artists and I love so many works, but I have no idea what these people look like. So I just like brush elbows with them constantly, and I have no idea who I'm talking to.
And the fact that Riley and Bailey were able to talk to him, like, when we weren't there, we were at the Thirsty Beaver or whatever.
Yeah, what was that place? We went to that old honky tonk, whatever the heck that was. Whole Mole. That was awesome.
Dude, yeah. Ben, we're definitely going to do that again. Ben, you're going to Heroes, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be...
Ben's going to be hanging out with the cool people. We'll have to find our own way.
It's gonna be me, Sam, Romesburg, Sam Freeman, and then
you got the Sams. You got both Sams.
And then we're trying to get a big table. We're gonna see what happens, but and then Matt Seiler is also coming down.
Nice. What? And so you're just gonna table for your own books? You're not gonna do an exhibitor for Acme?
No, dude, doing conventions as like an exhibitor sucks.
Yeah, I believe it.
I was gonna say, Kev, you and Manny know all about that from
yeah, that's so. We'll never do it again.
That
it was so
awful.
crushing, debilitating.
What did you guys do?
Well, we just like, because they were like, oh, if you need a big table, get an exhibitor booth, and we didn't like fully understand the ramifications of what that meant. And like also like our designer Christian was like, oh yeah, well if that's what they're saying, then let's just do that. And then he just kind of like did it. And we got
put. Like, I got us an exhibitor booth, and we were like, why didn't you? Okay.
We're just like, all right, he's shelling out the clams, like that's fine, we'll do that. And like we had an exhibitor booth in like a corner with like, you know, some toy people and like some other comic exhibitors, and we were just set up.
No one went over there.
No one went to the corner we were at, and it just sucked.
Were you guys in the dark area of the convention floor? There's like this weird area where you're like, there's nothing good happens over here.
Kind of.
Thankfully, you guys you were farther away from the dark corner. Like I never went to the far right corner, but you guys were like on the south right side of the convention center.
It was basically like right when you walked onto the convention floor, and then you just like took an immediate right. We were up towards the front, probably like 3 or 4 aisles over. So it was like there was foot traffic, but it was not foot traffic that we wanted, because it wasn't people going to like look at indie artists to like spend some money on like indie comics. It was all just like collectors. You know? So they saw us and they were like, what? And they just didn't know what to do with us.
We gotta like meet and just share Heroes Con stories, because I'm certain you guys have really cool ones. But last year was the first time I've ever done an artist booth ever. So like it was really cool. But like I met Ron Garney, and Ron's he's done tons of different books, but like everybody knows him for his Berserker work that he's doing with Keanu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And before the convention even opened, like I'm out there just like setting up my booth, and so I'm dragging my like sad cart of crap in, and like run into Ron, and I'm like, and his son, like his teenage son, which it looks like he's gonna be as buff as his dad is, and like, holy crap, are you Ron Garney? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh man, you know, I just kind of fanboyed out on him. But I was like, what is it like working with Keanu? And he's like, dude, it's cool. Like, he's such a cool guy. Although, like, one time he did try to put me in like some kind of like sleeper hold, so we ended up like, you know, wrestling around on the floor at like some random time. And he just has this story of like wrestling Keanu Reeves. I don't know, Keanu got some wild hair like when they were hanging out one time. I'm like, dude, that's freaking. And he's just such a cool dude. Like Ron was super cool. So
surprise attack. Yeah.
Exactly. You can just hear that from Keanu, like, oh.
That's rad. No, the Thirsty Beaver was a spot though. That was like a little country western bar in downtown Charlotte. Aaron Conley was like, "We're going. Are you coming?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Why not?"
I felt very overdressed for that place. I felt like I was missing my cowboy hat.
Definitely won this year,
dude. I was like, so their jukebox there is free, and I was hammered, and I was trying to work the jukebox, and I just kept feeding in $1 that kept spitting out at me, and these two girls in cowboy boots were like, "Try it again." Try it again. What you gonna play, Shug? And I was like, I want to listen to Willie Nelson. Just like, try it again. And then after like 20 minutes of struggling, they're just like, we're just fucking with you. It's free. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just punched in my number and went. It was so cheap though. Like, because the Westin was like, you know, if I wanted like a cocktail, I was spending $20-$30 a cocktail. It was like ridiculous. I went to
like just buy the shitty canned beer,
dude. Going to Thirsty Beaver. I bought like 3 rounds of shots for like 9 people and like 5 beers each for me and Manny, and I spent like $60-$70 there. It was so chill.
I never got a shot.
I was buying shots for everybody. You should have been.
I didn't get a shot.
I didn't get a shot.
I was there.
Yeah, well.
There's always this year.
It's always this year.
Gosh. Yeah. Well, we definitely gotta go back to that diner.
Yeah.
One more again.
Oh god.
I just like Heroes Con because it reminds me that it just takes me out of my shitty job and like not writing comics all year, and then I go to Heroes Con, I'm like, oh, that's right, I write comics and it's sick.
Yeah.
And I wish I just did this instead of. No, we didn't see the Marvel exhibit. We wanted to, but we were just simply out of time and money.
Is it still there?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
What the hell? I was there the whole time. There's a Marvel exhibit.
There's like a science center like art place called the Discovery Zone, and they've had like it's like a touring Marvel exhibit, and they have like MCU stuff that I can skip on, but they do have like a lot of original art pages. I know there's like Frank Miller originals, and I think even maybe some.
Oh, it
like
was
art.
It was extended until January 1st. Damn it!
Are you fucking kidding me?
That was it.
God, what an idiot! I'm so dumb. Funky. Put him in the. Put him out on the Mouth Breathers Guild.
Yeah, they like took the Felix crew there like the day after Heroes. I remember because Tyrell Cannon was like, "You guys got to go to the Marvel exhibit. It's sick." We're just like,
Yeah.
I gotta go to work.
Dude, I'm still hungover.
Yeah. Which we could have went, and one of them, no one came to the table anyway.
Yeah.
You guys should have come over and hung out on my area. Like I feel like I had a successful first year. So
we did straight up think about just like moving tables by Sunday because so many people had left already. We were just like, we should just go set up somewhere else and just.
Yeah, even Brian was just like, you guys should just take in. Look, there's an empty table over there. It's an empty table. Just fucking sit down. I was like, I don't know.
It's one of those things where if like anybody at the Felix table had bowed out early, like Stephen Green or somebody, because they had to travel.
Dude, that would have been crazy.
Oh, dude.
Like the whole Felix crew leaves, so then we take their spot.
Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm not here, but
I'm.
I am Stephen Green.
I am Stephen. I am.
I bet you got to talk in the voice.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, what's this?
The Stephen Green voice.
What's his
He's
voice?
like, he got a little bit of McConaughey, but he's also like,
hey,
I don't know, man. Like,
I don't know what you're saying.
we just gonna make this book about shooting things. Pew, pew.
You drive a Lincoln.
All right, my phone's about to die, and I'm at a place where I don't have a phone charger, so I'm gonna go.
So
thanks for hanging out, man.
Are you in on Saturday, Ben?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, cool. Well, Kevin, I'll see you.
Cool, sounds good. Later.
See you, dude.
My dudes, I reclined in my chair and now it's stuck.
I think that's just the third beer kicking in.
Nope, my chair does that sometimes. I just recline back and then it's done. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's all I got. We can cut the stream off. Ben, I want to talk to you about a book I want to pitch to you to draw, but
well,
we don't have to do that on stream because I don't want these people stealing my precious ideas.
Let's talk Saturday.
You sure you don't want to talk right now?
I mean,
I'll talk. We'll do a very brief now. I'll let you chew on it, and then we'll talk about it Saturday. Right. That's what we'll do.
All right, cool. Well, it will end the stream, and then you don't have to worry about the amazingness, the awesomeness leaking out into the world.
The precious.
All right, everybody who's on stream, thanks for hanging out. We're gonna close this up. We haven't really talked about Headlopper over the last half hour, but if you like comic books and you like cool shit, read Headlopper because it's good. It's fun. The art is amazing. It is super sick. It's just heads getting chopped off, fantasy monsters. Yeah. It's like Samurai Jack and Adventure Time and Berserk all rolled up into one. It's sick. Read this book. Support Andrew Maclean. Support indie artists. Go to your local comic book shop. say hello to the people who work there, talk to the people shopping there, buy stuff, support all those good things.
And then do it again.
We love you. Take care.
Yep. Funky, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, appreciate you, Noah.